Where does India currently stand in the world? Part 4. In the last video, we saw many other weapons, artilleries, tanks, aircrafts, helicopters which was made in India. In this video, we would look into the naval power of India. The naval ships, submarines, destroyers, frigates and other strengths of Navy. We would also see the warfare ships, corvettes, offshore vehicles and other auxiliary fleets. Commissioned submarines. Arihant class submarine. The Arihant class, Sanskrit, for slayer of enemies, is a class of nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarines being built for the Indian Navy. They were developed under the $2.9 billion Advanced Technology Vessel (ATV) project to design and build nuclear-powered submarines. Arihant is the first ballistic missile submarine to have been built by a country other than one of the 5 permanent members of the United Nations Security Council. Cavalry class. Cavalry class submarines were the first submarines inducted into the Indian Navy. They were variants of the early Soviet Foxtrot class submarines. 4 of the class served in the Indian Navy. 4 additional variants of the later Foxtrot class were inducted as the Vela class. Destroyers. Kolkata class destroyer. The Kolkata class, Project 15A, are a class of stealth-guided missile destroyers constructed for the Indian Navy. INS Kolkata. INS Kolkata is the lead ship of the Kolkata-class stealth-guided missile destroyers of the Indian Navy. INS Kochi. INS Kochi, D-64, is the second ship of the Kolkata-class stealth-guided missile destroyers built for the Indian Navy. INS Chennai. INS Chennai, D-65, is the third ship of the Kolkata-class stealth-guided missile destroyers of the Indian Navy. Delhi-class destroyer. The Delhi-class destroyers are guided missile destroyers of the Indian Navy. INS Delhi. INS Delhi is the lead ship of her class of guided missile destroyers of the Indian Navy. INS Mysore. INS Mysore is a Delhi-class guided missile destroyer currently in active service with the Indian Navy. INS Mumbai. INS Mumbai is the third of the Delhi-class guided missile destroyers in active service with the Indian Navy. Frigates. Shivalok-class frigate. The Shivalok class or Project 17 class is a class of multi-role frigates in service with the Indian Navy. They are the first stealth warships built in India. A total of 3 ships were built between 2000 and 2010, and all 3 were in commission by 2012. INS Shivalok. INS Shivalok, F-47, is the lead ship of her class of stealth multi-role frigates built for the Indian Navy. INS Satpura. INS Satpura, F-48, is a Shivalok-class stealth multi-role frigate built for the Indian Navy. INS Sahyadri. INS Sahyadri, F-49, is a Shivalok-class stealth multi-role frigate built for the Indian Navy. Brahmaputra-class frigate. The Brahmaputra-class frigates, Type 16A or Project 16A, are guided missile frigates of the Indian Navy, designed and built in India. INS Brahmaputra. INS Brahmaputra, F-31, is the lead ship of her class of guided missile frigates of the Indian Navy. INS Betwa. INS Betwa, F-39, is a Brahmaputra-class guided missile frigate currently in service with the Indian Navy. INS Beas. INS Beas, F-37, is a Brahmaputra-class frigate of the Indian Navy. Godavari-class frigate. The Godavari-class frigates, formerly Type 16 or Project 16 frigates, are guided missile frigates of the Indian Navy. The Godavari class was the first significant indigenous warship design and development initiative of the Indian Navy. Its design is a modification of the Nilgiri class with a focus on indigenous content of 72%, a larger hull and updated armaments. INS Gunga. INS Gunga, F-22, is a Godavari class guided missile frigate of the Indian Navy. INS Gomati. INS Gomati, F-21, is a Godavari class guided missile frigate of Indian Navy. Amphibious warfare ships. SHARE class tank landing ship. SHARE class landing ships are large amphibious warfare vessels built at Garden Reach shipbuilders and engineers for the Indian Navy. They are an evolution of the Magar class amphibious landing ships. The class has an indigenous content of over 90% with state-of-the-art equipment. INS SHARE. INS SHARE is the lead ship of the SHARE class amphibious warfare vessels of the Indian Navy. INS Kazari. INS Kazari is a SHARE class tank landing ship of the Indian Navy. INS Aravat. INS Aravat is the third SHARE class amphibious warfare vessel of the Indian Navy. Magar class amphibious warfare vessel. The Magar class landing ships are amphibious warfare vessels of the Indian Navy, currently in active service. Only 2 ships of the class were designed and built by Hindustan Shipyard Limited, with fitting completed at Garden Reach shipbuilders and engineers. INS Magar. INS Magar is the lead ship of Magar class amphibious warfare vessels of the Indian Navy. INS Creel. INS Creel is a Magar class amphibious warfare vessel of the Indian Navy. Landing craft. The landing craft utility, LCU, is a type of boat used by amphibious forces to transport equipment and troops to the shore. They are capable of transporting tracked or wheeled vehicles and troops from amphibious assault ships to beachheads or piers. Corvettes. K-Morta class. The K-Morta class corvettes or Project 28 are a class of anti-submarine warfare corvettes currently in service with the Indian Navy. INS K-Morta. INS K-Morta is the first of 4 anti-submarine K-Morta class stealth corvettes which has been built for the Indian Navy. INS Kadmat. INS Kadmat, P-29, is the second of 4 anti-submarine warfare corvettes built for the Indian Navy by the Garden Reach shipbuilders and engineers of Kolkata under Project 28. Kora-class corvette. Kora-class corvettes are 1,350-ton guided missile corvettes, in active service with the Indian Navy. 4 vessels were built at Garden Reach shipbuilders and engineers, GRSE, and outfitted at Mazagon Dock Limited, MDL. INS Kora. INS Kora is the lead ship of her class of corvettes, currently in active service with the Indian Navy. INS Kirk. INS Kirk currently in active service with the Indian Navy. INS Kulish. INS Kulish currently in active service with the Indian Navy. INS Karmuk. INS Karmuk currently in active service with the Indian Navy. Kukri class. The Kukri class corvette were a class of corvettes intended to replace the aging Petya II class corvettes of the Indian Navy. INS Kukri. INS Kukri is the lead vessel of her class of corvettes, currently in service with the Indian Navy. INS Kuthar. INS Kuthar currently in active service with the Indian Navy. INS Kirpan. INS Kirpan currently in active service with the Indian Navy. INS Khandra. INS Khandra currently in active service with the Indian Navy. Abhay-class corvette. The Abhay-class corvettes of the Indian Navy are customized variants of the Soviet Polk-class corvettes. INS Abhay, P-33. INS Abhay, P-33, is the lead ship of her class of anti-submarine warfare corvettes, currently in service with the Indian Navy. INS Ajay, P-34. INS Ajay, P-34, currently in active service with the Indian Navy. INS Akshay, P-35. INS Akshay, P-35, currently in active service with the Indian Navy. Veer-class corvette. The Veer-class corvettes of the Indian Navy are a customized Indian variant of the Soviet Tarantula class. They form the 22nd Killer Missile Vessel Squadron. INS Nurbek. INS Nurbek currently in active service with the Indian Navy. INS Nishank. INS Nishank currently in active service with the Indian Navy. INS Nurgat. INS Nurgat currently in active service with the Indian Navy. INS Vibhuti. INS Vibhuti currently in active service with the Indian Navy. INS Vipul. INS Vipul currently in active service with the Indian Navy. INS Vinash. INS Vinash currently in active service with the Indian Navy. INS Vidyut. INS Vidyut currently in active service with the Indian Navy. INS Nashk. INS Nashk currently in active service with the Indian Navy. INS Prabal. INS Prabal currently in active service with the Indian Navy. INS Pralaya. INS Pralaya currently in active service with the Indian Navy. INS Astradharani. INS Astradharini is an indigenously designed and built torpedo launch and recovery vessel built by Shaft Shipyard for the Indian Navy. Offshore patrol vessels. SHARE class patrol vessel. The SHARE class of offshore patrol vessels, OPV, are advanced patrol ships of the Indian Navy built at the Goa Shipyard Limited. INS SARU. INS SARU is the first SHARE class patrol vessel of the Indian Navy. INS Sunna. INS Sunna is the second SHARE class patrol vessel of the Indian Navy. INS Sumeda. INS Sumeda, P-58, is the third SHARE class patrol vessel of the Indian Navy. INS Sumatra. INS Sumatra is the fourth and last SHARE class patrol vessel of the Indian Navy. Sukanya class patrol vessel. The Sukanya class patrol vessels are large, offshore patrol craft in active service with the Indian Navy. INS Sukanya. INS Sukanya is the lead vessel of the Sukanya class patrol vessels of the Indian Navy. INS Subhadra. INS Subhadra has been used as a test bed for the Danush ship-launched ballistic missile and associated stabilization and launch platform. INS Shuvarna. INS Shuvarna has been modified for use as a test bed for the launch of the ship-based Danush short-range ballistic missile. INS Savitri. INS Savitri, P-53, currently in active service with the Indian Navy. INS Sharada. INS Sharada, P-55, currently in active service with the Indian Navy. INS Sujata. INS Sujata, P-56, currently in active service with the Indian Navy. Patrol vessels. Karnikobar class. The Karnikobar class of high-speed offshore patrol vessels are built by Garden Reach Shipbuilders and Engineers, GRSE, for the Indian Navy. Following are Karnikobar class vessels. INS Karnikobar, T-69. INS Chetlot, T-70. INS Koradive, T-71. INS Chera-Iam, T-72. INS Kankaraso, T-73. INS Kalpani, T-75. INS Cabra, T-76. INS Karuva, T-78. INS Tarmugli, T-91. INS Tilachang, T-92. INS Dahayu, D-93. Bangaram class. The Bangaram-class patrol vessels of the Indian Navy are designed for interdiction against fast-moving surface vessels and for search and rescue operations in coastal areas and in the exclusive economic zone. Following are Bangaram-class patrol vessels: INS Bangaram, T-65, INS Bitra, T-66, INS Patti Malv, T-67, INS Baratang, T-68. Trincat class. The Trincat class patrol vessels of the Indian Navy were designed and constructed by Garden Reach shipbuilders and engineers. INS Trincat. INS Trincat is a patrol vessel of the Indian Navy were designed and constructed by Garden Reach shipbuilders and engineers in Kolkata, West Bengal. Patrol boats. Immediate support vessel. Immediate Support Vessel, ISV, is a type of light and armed patrol boat of the Indian Navy. Auxiliary Fleet. Aditya-class auxiliary ship. The Aditya-class auxiliary ship is a class of replenishment and repair ships currently in service with the Indian Navy. Support ships. Dredger 1 class. The first and the only exclusively owned dredger ship of its type in the Indian Navy, the indigenously built ship is meant for dredging the various Navy ports. Research and survey vessels. Sagardhwani. INS Sagardhwani, A-74, is a marine acoustic research ship, MARS, owned by the Naval Physical and Oceanographic Laboratory, NPOL, maintained and operated by the Indian Navy, and based at Southern Naval Command, Kochi. Sandayak class. The Sandayak class survey ships are a series of 8 vessels built by Garden Reach shipbuilders and engineers, GRSE, Kolkata and Goa Shipyard, Ltd, Vasco for the Indian Navy. INS Nirupak. INS Nirupak, J-20, is a Sandayak-class hydrographic survey ship in the Indian Navy. INS Investigator. INS Investigator, J-15, is the 4th ship of the Sandayak class. INS Jamuna. INS Jamuna, J-16, is a hydrographic survey ship in the Indian Navy, under the Southern Naval Command. INS Sutlej. INS Sutlej, J-17, is a hydrographic survey ship of the Sandayak class in the Indian Navy, under the Southern Naval Command. INS Sandayak. INS Sandayak, J-18, is the lead ship of the Sandayak class of survey ships. INS Darshk. Darshk is the Indian Navy's 8th hydrographic survey ship to have been indigenously designed and constructed. INS Darshk. Darshk is the Indian Navy's 8th hydrographic survey ship to have been indigenously designed and constructed. Makar-class survey catamaran. INS Makar, J-31. The Makar-class survey catamarans are a series of 6 500-ton steel-hull, aluminium superstructure hydrographic survey catamarans being built by ЛИКЕ Ashdown, Gujarat, Limited at its Bhavnagar shipyard for the Indian Navy. Training vessels. INS Ter, A-86. INS Varuna. INS Ranjini, A-75. INS Sudarshini, A-77. INS Vimadai, A-76. INS Vitrini. With this we come to the end of this video and the series of Where Does India Stand in This World? DRDO performance is just fantastic. Words fail me to express the gratitude of the nation to our DRDO for its sustained perseverance despite various shortcomings in men, materials and resources. What has been achieved is indeed unbelievable, coming as it does from a single organization which was founded with limited resources. Despite criticism from so many, DRDO went on doing its work with dedication, and look where they are today. My sincere gratitude and best wishes for achieving even higher goals. Also, we should never forget it is not these weapons, artilleries, tanks, aircrafts, Helicopters, on which our country's protection depends on, but it depends on the men and women who stand at our borders and make us feel safe. We have the third largest standing army, fifth largest navy and seventh largest air force in the world. Yet we are considered a country which likes to maintain peace and tranquility even with countries like Pakistan. But our silence should never be taken for granted. Press the like button if you like the video and subscribe to the channel and press the bell to get the latest videos. Comment on the video to inspire us to make more such videos.